Good morning, everyone. I'm Ankit Singh, and you're watching the Indian Express analysis on StudyIQ IS English channel. Now, today is 6th of February, and we'll be dealing with important articles that are covered in today's newspaper. For example, these will be the articles that I will be covering today. The first article, as you can see, is on PM internship scheme, as the news appeared on the very first page of the Indian Express newspaper, and it said that as per the provisions of PM internship scheme, which was introduced in last year's budget, the amount of enrollment under this scheme has been below average. So we'll try to understand what are the important features of PM internship scheme in addition to solving the question. Now, such scheme is an avenue of providing employment to people of India or youth of our country. Therefore, they are a part of GS paper 3 syllabus, that is economy. Then we'll be dealing with deporting foreigners from Assam, as the Supreme Court recently scolded the government of Assam as it were detaining these foreign illegals. However, it was not deporting them to other countries. So we'll try to understand what are the provisions that enable Assamese government to detain illegal immigrants into Assam, and as a result, how can these immigrants then be deported to their home nations. This is important from GS paper 2 perspective, as it deals with matters related to citizenship, and you understand this is a part of polity syllabus, then therefore it is a part of GS paper 2. Understood? So that is why we'll be dealing with second article. The third article is on Darien Gap, which is a gap that exists between North and South America, and this gap has been exploited by people who want to immigrate into countries like Canada and US illegally. Now, many people, including Indians, are using this particular area to immigrate, and as many illegal immigrants, they were sent back to India, the focus on this particular area remains in the newspaper. So we'll try to understand this Darien Gap, and this is important primarily from geography's perspective. Hence, it is a part of GS paper 1 syllabus. Understood? Then we'll be covering Kuno National Park. As you can understand, this national park is the very site from where the cheetahs that have been brought from Africa are settled in Kuno National Park, and therefore such kind of a protected area becomes very important from our exams perspective. Also, a new cub has been born to a cheetah that was translocated from Africa. Therefore, this particular protected area remains in news. Such protected area, including other protected areas that we cover from time to time, they are important from environment perspective. Hence, they are a part of GS paper 3 syllabus. Further, we'll be dealing with the national government setting up of a national cooperative university, and it is a part of cooperative society, again important from polity perspective. Hence, it is a part of GS paper 2 syllabus. Now, cooperatives in general are very important, and government's focus these days are to bring or to develop the cooperative sector, which becomes very important from our economy's perspective also. However, this development primarily deals with education sector and also from the cooperative society. Hence, we are covering this from a GS paper 2 perspective and not GS paper 3 perspective. And the last article for the day is deals with pulses and the attempts of government to make India self-reliant, which in Hindi is known as Atmanirbharta. Now, pulses, they are in demand across the country. People in North, they consume primarily dal such as tur dal, whereas in people in the South, they consume primarily dal such as urad, which is used to prepare various kind of dishes like dosa, idli, etc. Also, there are many dals which are used extensively across the India. Hence, India is a largest cultivator of pulses in general. However, you have to understand, despite being the largest cultivator, the domestic demand for pulses are quite high. Hence, to fulfill this demand, we have to import high amount of pulses from other countries also, primarily the African nations. And the government, it is trying to move farmers away from cultivating rice and wheat, and rather it is promoting that the farmer should instead cultivate pulses. And in this regard, the Union Finance Minister in her budget this year, she gave certain kind of a policy. So we'll understand that policy in light of how India Atmanirbhar in domestic production of pulses, and if not, what are the challenges that India faces. Now, this syllabus primarily deals with agricultural sector, which is a part of GS paper 3 perspective, and also major crops are mentioned in the UPSC main syllabus, and pulse is a major crop in India, including chana, dals, etc. Understood? So let us start our today's discussion, and you know the notes for this session will be available on my Telegram channel ATS Live. So please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. You can search the words ATS Live on the top right hand corner of your Telegram app, which is given in your mobile phones, and also you have an option to search this QR code and it will take you directly to my Telegram channel. Now also a genuine request from my side, people, if you haven't liked this video, please do like it. It gives us the encouragement to conduct these sessions every day and also helps reach our content to more and more people. Also, we go live every day at 10 a.m. for those who are watching it for the first time. So please make sure to subscribe the channel also, as it will provide or it will notify you every time we go live with such similar videos. Now, good morning Augustine, good morning Bulbul, good morning Baga Spinks, good morning KK, good morning Ritu. Yes, Bulbul, chana is an important pulse as it is consumed across the nation for various directly and even for making different kind of products like besan, etc. Now, let us start our today's session with yesterday's question that I gave you as a homework. Consider the following statements regarding NASA's Double Asteroid Redirection Test, also known as DART mission. Now, DART mission was designed to test planetary defense by intentionally crashing a spacecraft into an asteroid to alter its trajectory. Now, yes, it is correct. The asteroid which was bombarded with this kind of a spacecraft was called Dimorphos, which is actually a moon of another asteroid called as Didymos. So this was actually correct, as it was used to crash a man-made spacecraft into an asteroid so as to alter the course of asteroid so that it does not hit Earth in the future times. The second statement, the target asteroid of DART mission posed an immediate threat to Earth. Now you have to understand this Dimorphos or its parent asteroid called as Didymos, it did not produce an immediate threat to Earth. However, it was a test mission to demonstrate the capability whether NASA can actually change the course of any particular asteroid or not. Understood? So it did not pose an immediate threat. Therefore, second statement incorrect. First was right and we had to identify correct statement. Therefore, first option is the right answer, that is option A. Now, let us move to the question that I will be dealing with today. Critically analyze the success and challenges in government's efforts in achieving self-reliance in domestic production of pulses, and you have to answer this question in 150 words. So, please stay tuned to our discussion. We will be covering this question on how to approach this kind of a question and how to add value to it in the today's session. Now, without taking much of your time, let me begin with our first article of the day, which appeared on the very front page of today's Indian Express newspaper, and it states that only 8,000 students have actually applied to PM internship scheme. And I told you already, this kind of an employment incentive or an employment scheme, whether temporary or permanent, these are part of GS paper 3 syllabus, that is Indian economy. Now, the context of this article is that in last year's budget, Madam Finance Minister announced a scheme for providing internships to Indian youth called as PM internship scheme. And for this, 1.27 lakh internship opportunities, they were listed by as many as 280 companies in the first phase. And partner companies, they made offers, about 82,000 internship offers to candidates, and out of these 28,124 candidates have actually accepted to join this internship. However, this is a data given by Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Now, such kind of a data in general is not important for your exam. What is important, that it offered 1.27 lakh internships. Understood? So, please do not take too many data so seriously if you are appearing for UPSC examination. Just a key fact is important whenever you are preparing for your exam. Now, let us try to understand what is this PM internship scheme all about. As I told you already, this was announced in last year's budget, that was 2024 and 25, and it is a pilot project for financial year 2024 and 25, and in budget document it provided or it targeted creation of 1.25 lakh internship opportunities for Indian youth. Now, this opportunities, it spanned across 24 sectors including manufacturing, telecommunications, every possible sector that you can imagine. Now, the companies who will be providing these kind of offers are the companies based on their CSR spending. That is, every company, they need to spend 2% of their profit or average 2% of the profit for the last 3 years on social kind of activities, and these activities also include providing internships to the Indian youth. So these companies will be identified based on their corporate social responsibility spending, and also they will be placed in an organization in general which have a good commitment towards society, and they are involved in conducting ethical practices, so as that people who are getting internship, they get accustomed to the industrial culture, they get accustomed to what good companies are and how they function and how they can manage their careers into their future. So this is the original intention of this scheme. Now, the interns or the benefits that are provided to interns under this scheme are many. First of all, they will be provided a monthly stipend of 5,000 rupees, where 500 rupees will be contributed by the company and rest 4,500 rupees will be given by the government directly into their bank account through direct benefit transfer. Also, not just monthly payments, but they are also entitled to get one-time grant of 6,000 rupees before they begin their internship, so that it gets them or it enables them to take places for their rent, to manage their food expenses for the first month. So these are two kind of benefits, direct benefits or monetary benefits. First is a monthly stipend of 5,000 rupees, and another one is a one-time grant that will be provided initially at a sum total of 6,000 rupees. Now, other benefits or non-monetary benefits, they include that these interns will be covered under the government's insurance schemes such as PM Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana and PM Suraksha Bima Yojana, and partner companies, they may also offer accidental insurance coverage to these interns. So these are the kind of benefits which you understand are many that are offered to the interns. Now let us try to understand which kind of youth are eligible to be getting these kind of opportunities. Now, first of all, this is a 12-month internship program designed primarily for youth between the ages of 21 and 24, and Indian nationals who are not employed in a full-time basis or they are engaged in full-time education like college students, they will be eligible, and candidates who are enrolled in online or distant learning programs, they will also be eligible. Now, in terms of educational qualifications, the candidates who will be applying for these internships, they must have a high school certificate or a degree or a certificate from industrial training institutions or even a diploma from any polytechnic institutions. They will be eligible. Also, the graduates who have graduated from arts and commerce courses, BA, BSc, BCom, BCA, BB, etc., they will also be eligible. Now, let us try to understand who will not be eligible. So, you understand these are kind of an employment opportunities primarily for youth from polytechnics and other diploma courses. So naturally, graduates from premier institutions of India like IITs, IIMs, national universities, etc., they will not be eligible, right? Also, the holders of professional qualifications like MBBS, CA, CS, MBA, etc., they will also be not eligible. Also, people who are undergoing skill training, apprenticeship programs, internship under central or state government existing schemes, they will not be eligible. So, as the benefits of other schemes have been provided, they will not be eligible for this PM internship scheme. Also, the people who have completed apprenticeship under National Apprenticeship Training Scheme or National Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme, they will also be not eligible, and also people belonging to higher income families, especially the families whose family income is more than 8 lakh rupees every year, they will not be eligible. Also, family members of permanent government employees also not eligible. So this is a long list of ineligibility, sorry for the fumble. So it is quite easy to remember that professional educational degree holders like MBBS, CA, CS, etc. not eligible. People studying in premier institutions like IITs, IIMs, etc. not eligible. Or people having high family income more than 8 lakh rupees not eligible. People belonging to government service or their family members not eligible. And also people who are undergoing any kind of skill training apprenticeship program under the existing schemes not eligible. So it is very easy to remember. Now, let us try to solve this practice question. Consider the following statements about the Prime Minister's internship scheme. This scheme offers 12-month internship program for Indian youth between 21 to 24 years of age who are not engaged in full-time employment or full-time education. Yes, this is a correct statement. As I have already told you, interns receive a monthly financial assistance of 5,000 for 12 months along with a one-time grant of 6,000 rupees. Yes, correct. Please pay close attention to any figures given in any statement that UPSC usually have a tendency to play around with these facts so as to make the statements either correct or incorrect, right? Now, the third statement, the scheme is integrated with existing development and apprenticeship programs across all states and union territories. Now, you have to understand this is incorrect. As I told you, people who are undergoing training, apprenticeship program under any schemes, they are not eligible. That means this scheme is a different scheme and not integrated with the existing programs. Therefore, the third statement becomes incorrect. And we have to identify statements that are correct. First and second are right. Therefore, option A is the right answer. Now, good morning, Mangalu. Good morning. Now, let us move to the second article of the day. This article actually appeared in yesterday's newspaper on the very first page, and it said that actually Baga Springs, you're right, option A is the right. And this article actually said that the Supreme Court of India, it scolded the Assam government as it was holding indefinitely many people who are illegal immigrants into India, right? So the context of this article, as I've already told you, Supreme Court has actually questioned this Assam's government move of indecisiveness on whether or not to send these illegal immigrants back from their detention into their home country. So this is the context of today's article. Now you have to understand what are the directives that were extended by the Supreme Court of India. Now the Supreme Court of India, it emphasized on the fact that once a person is declared as a foreigner by any tribunal, they must be deported immediately to their home country and they cannot be detained indefinitely, because detaining them indefinitely does away with their right to life, which is provided under Article 21 of the Constitution. And by holding them on an indefinite basis in their detention cells, it is actually violative of their very right to life. And this right to life, you understand, is extended not just to citizens of India, but any person living in India, be it a foreigner or be it Indian citizen. Also, the union government has been directed by the Supreme Court to provide total number of persons who are declared foreigners in Assam, how many actually have been deported to their home countries, and the procedure that are being followed for individuals whose nationality still is yet to be determined. Now, it is quite easy for foreigner tribunals to assess whether that person belongs to X country or Y country. But to actually prove it in a court is a different thing, because these immigrants or illegal immigrants, they do not carry any kind of a legal document with them. So, if these immigrants, they agree that they belong to X country or Y country, such as Bangladesh, Myanmar, etc., it becomes easy for the government to send them back. But once it does not even know that what kind of country they belong to, how they will initiate the process of deportation. Now, deportation also is not that easy a process. Once the home country from which these illegal immigrants have emerged, that country should also accept by taking back these kind of illegal immigrants, like India has done with US. So this deportation is a long drawn process, not as easy as it seems in the news articles. Now, let us try to understand how these illegal immigrants, they are identified in states such as Assam. Now, for that purpose, special foreigner tribunals have been created in the state of Assam under the Foreigner Tribunals Order, which was passed as per the provisions of Foreigners Act of 1946. Please remember this is very important. Now, this act, it enables local authorities in Assam to refer suspected foreigners to tribunal, not just the government, but also people like you and I. We can refer these matters to the tribunal, and it is the job of the tribunal to actually determine whether that person is an Indian citizen or is an illegal immigrant. And if it finds out that the person is illegal immigrant, that person is declared as an illegal immigrant and ordered to be sent back to their home country. Now, this kind of a assessment or institution, these are exclusive to Assam, as currently these foreigner tribunals, they only operate in Assam, whereas other states, they handle illegal immigrants through Foreigners Act and through their various different kind of institutional mechanisms, and not foreigner tribunal. Now, these foreigner tribunals, they compose of, or they are led by members from the judiciary, or even advocacy groups, civil services, and even the members of civil services like DM who have a judicial experience. So these foreigner tribunals, they compose of different kind of government and non-government functionaries. And the case disposal by these foreigner tribunals is that they must conclude the case within a period of 60 days, and failure to prove citizenship can result in detention, and eventually after detention, they will be deported back to their home country. Now, why this is foreigner tribunal so different? Because here the burden of proof actually lies on the person whose determination of citizenship is actually going on. That if suppose I am charged or I am alleged to be an illegal immigrant, it is my job or my duty in the tribunal to prove that either I am a citizen of India or I am a citizen of some other country. Understood? Now, based on this assessment, let us try to solve another practice question. Consider the following statement regarding foreigner tribunals in Assam. Foreigner tribunals are quasi-judicial body. Yes, it is correct. Established under Citizenship Act of 1955 to determine the nationality of individuals in Assam. What did I tell you? It was formed under the Foreigners Act, not the Citizenship Act, and therefore, first statement is incorrect. Now, the orders of foreigner tribunals are final and they cannot be challenged in any court of law. Now you have to understand these kind of tribunals, their orders are actually not final. These can be challenged in court of law, particularly in the higher courts of our country, high courts, and eventually to the apex court, that is the Supreme Court. So therefore, second statement also incorrect. I told you, right, these were constituted as per Foreigners Act 1946. The third statement, the burden of proof lies on the individual to establish Indian citizenship before the tribunal. Yes, it is correct. That is why these tribunals are so difficult in nature, that the burden of proof lies not on the state or the government authorities but on the person whose citizenship is being determined by the foreigners tribunal. So third statement correct, first and second incorrect. Here please correct it, we had to identify incorrect statement, right? Now first and second incorrect, therefore option A here is the right answer. Understood? Now good morning Tony, good morning Tony Raju. Now moving to the third article, this article also appeared in yesterday's newspaper, and this article prima facie looks another non-important article from UPSC perspective. But let me tell you, such kind of an articles also have an information which can be quoted or used by UPSC. Therefore, I told you analysis of newspaper from an expert's point of view is very important, and why you should watch these kind of sessions every day. Suppose this article just tells you a story, but this also puts a particular map in question, that the person who is suffering or who is telling his or her story is using a particular geographical context. So this article, if you see closely, talks about a region in the globe called as Darien Gap. So let us try to understand what is this Darien Gap is all about and why actually it appeared in such kind of a story, right? And this is important from geography syllabus, because very important places in news, they are asked frequently in the prelims examination. Therefore, it becomes important from geographical perspective, right? So let us see the context of this article. Now it actually tells a story of an immigrant or an illegal immigrant in US who traveled to US all the way from Delhi through the region of Mexico, and he took 4 months to travel illegally into US. And naturally, that kind of a person is very vulnerable. He might have paid off to many agents in his way, and it also puts his life in danger. However, the process of his journey, it included journey via Darien Gap, and eventually this person was deported back into India after the US found out that he was an illegal immigrant into US. Now let us try to understand what is this Darien Gap or where it is located. Now Darien Gap is located on the very region between Colombia and Panama, that region which connects North America in the north to South America in the south. Understood? Now let us try to understand the geographical characteristics of this area. As I told you, this is a dense and lawless region which is located between Panama and Colombia. It is situated in the narrowest part of Isthmus of Panama. This Isthmus of Panama we have covered recently in our discussions related to Panama Canal, as the canal is located very close to this Darien Gap. Now this gap is actually 160 kilometer long and 50 kilometers wide. So put things in perspective, from a continental point of view, 50 kilometers is a very small distance. Now this region is characterized by thick rainforest, swamps, river and rugged mountains. So you understand, in these kind of difficult terrain, it is actually very difficult for any government to monitor this area very closely. And as a result, this area remains lawless, and hence these kind of gaps in the security and the regional infrastructure are exploited by the members who are smuggling these illegal immigrants into various countries. Also, this is a major route for migrants. As I told you, this is a very difficult terrain, and the law authorities are absent in this area, and they took the journey from South America, Africa and Asia, and when they are heading to US, they use this particular piece of land. Now, this is one of the most dangerous migration routes, as there are innumerous deaths that happen when the persons are migrating from this area. So that is why such kind of a region might be very important from our UPSC's perspective, and that is why I am covering it on today's lecture. Now let us try to solve this question again with consider the following statements regarding Darien Gap. The Darien Gap is a region that forms a natural land bridge between South America and North America. Yes, this is a correct statement. It is only missing section of Pan American Highway, making overland travel between Colombia and Panama nearly impossible. Now you have to understand, like Grand Trunk Road in India, which earlier was covering right the way from Indian subcontinent, from Afghanistan to the eastern coast of India, there is a Pan-American Highway which connects the territory of Alaska, located in US, to the country of Argentina. Now, this Pan-American Highway, the only missing section is actually in the region of Darien Gap, because this is an inhabitable and inhospitable territory where such construction, just because of its very difficult terrain, is not possible. So yes, second statement here is correct. Now the region is known for its high altitude and cold climate, which makes it one of the most challenging terrain for human migration. Now you understand, this is one of the most challenging terrain for human migration, but the climate here does not constitute high altitude or cold climate. Rather, it is tropical climate which has presence of swamps or wetland. Understood? So therefore third statement incorrect. Now first and second are right, third is not, and we have to identify correct statement. So option A again is the right answer. Bhagas Ping, sir, are these illegal immigrants punished when they are deported and reach back to their motherland? Technically they should be punished, but legally they should be punished, but generally the government goes soft on them because their family members are already under much stress, and these immigrants, they have significant amount of investments, properties, money that they have left behind the country that they legally migrated to. So naturally or legally they should be deported or they should be punished, but they are generally not, or the government shows benevolence into them, right? Now, let me tell you something which we already covered in our yesterday's video, if you have seen it already. Now, this video actually tells you about the various kind of courses that we offer. Now, we understand teaching or understanding all the subjects in the UPSC might be very difficult for you, and the current affairs session that we take up on YouTube, it covers only the current aspects of the syllabus. So what happens if you don't understand the important static portion of the syllabus? So for that problem, the StudyIQ IS has actually brought a Sampoorn course. Sampoorn in Hindi, or when you translate Sampoorn in English, it means complete. Now, this is a complete course that you can utilize for preparing for the foundational subjects, and it is available both for 2026 and 2027. Let me tell you that the prices for both these courses will increase after 6th of February. So that is today, and the benefits of these courses are many, as I have told you already in our last video yesterday that we took with Shubham and Alok sir. They told you, and I also highlighted, that this course provides entire coverage right from live classes to mentorship support, and even if you clear prelims and mains, you will be provided various kind of monetary benefits like scholarships. Also, previously to the few months before prelims examination and mains exam, you will be brought to Delhi, and all of your expenses, living, food, studies, everything will be cared of by the StudyIQ so that you clear the exam eventually. Now this course is available for 37,499 or 499 right now, but let me tell you a way if you can get discounts under this course. Now there is a section called offers or promo code available. Now there are 3 sections of this course. The best one is platinum, which is the most value for money, and it covers each and every feature that we provide to our students. Now, if you apply promo code here, and if you use the code called as ATS Live, which must be flashing on the screens below you, you apply this code and you see there is a 7,500 discount, and eventually the course is available for 29,999. So that is how, by using the code, you can get discounts, and this is the most cost effective and the best course that is available in the industry right now, and it will take care of every of the needs that a student might face during their preparation phase. Understood? Now let us move back to our today's discussion with this another article that says that a cheetah which was located in Kuno National Park, has actually given birth to 2 new cubs. Yes, as I was saying, this cheetah has actually given birth to 2 new cubs. Now, Veera, which is one of the cheetah housed in the Madhya Pradesh's Kuno National Park, has actually given birth, and currently this puts the number of cheetahs in Kuno National Park to 26, which includes 14 cubs at the Kuno National Park. And after spending more than 1 year inside the protective enclosures, 2 cheetah have been released into the wild or in the open forest area. Now, the Kuno Action Plan, which started few years back, it actually envisaged bringing the cheetahs back into India from Africa. As cheetah originally it existed in India, but in early 2000 it became extinct. So the Indian government, it wanted to restore or rebring the population of cheetah into India, and as a result it imported many cheetahs from African nations. And these were primarily located in many these will be located in many national parks in India, and they started from Kuno National Park, which is located in Madhya Pradesh. So in this article, what becomes important is cheetah and the Kuno National Park. So let us first deal with Kuno National Park. Now, this is a national park, as I told you, located in Madhya Pradesh in the Shiopur district. Now, this is nestled very near to the Vindhyan Hills. So this is the location which is important for Kuno National Park. Now, this national park is actually named after Kuno River, which actually cuts through this area, and this Kuno River is actually a tributary for Chambal River. Now, initially, this protected area was established as a wildlife sanctuary, and in 2018, this wildlife sanctuary was given a highest protection standard of being a national park. Now, this is the area where the government has actually taken the restoration, or it has settled the population of cheetah. Now, the vegetation which is available in this area or in the Kuno National Park is primarily grassland region, which allows the cheetah to navigate this area quite freely. As you understand, cheetah is the fastest mammal, and it requires large piece of land so that it can run to its potential, and that is what the perfect condition that should be there for any cheetah population. And this protected area, which is primarily a grassland based vegetation, it provides the ideal ground for cheetahs to settle. In terms of flora, kardhai, salai and khair trees are the dominant in this area, which consist of mixed forest generally. Now, in addition to cheetah, this area has other predators also, which includes Indian leopard, sloth bear, Indian wolf, striped hyenas, golden jackal. So, if the question comes that the cheetah is the only predator in Kuno National Park, the answer would be incorrect. Also, other less important species like dhole, they are also here, and the Kuno National Park was selected under the action plan for introduction of cheetah in India, which I have already told you. Now, the project Cheetah, it was launched in the year 2022, and it became the world's first intercontinental large wild carnivorous translocation project, and eventually it became the part of Project Tiger, which includes restoration of the population of tiger in India. And this Project Tiger has been quite successful, and similarly, the experiences that the government and the bodies learned from Project Tiger are now being implemented for Project Cheetah. Now, the aim of this mission is to reintroduce at least 50 cheetahs in various protected areas of the country in 5 years, and they started with Kuno National Park, and the implementing agency of this particular mission is National Tiger Conservation Authority. Understood? So, this is how the important facts related to this development every aspirant should know of, and they should eventually practice this. Understood? Now, the world's fastest mammal is cheetah, as you can understand, and it is the only large carnivore which became extinct in India back in 1952. Now, there are 2 species of cheetah that exist currently. India had the population of Asiatic cheetah which became extinct, and this is categorized as per the IUCN status as currently endangered, and the current population of Asiatic cheetah, they are only located in the country of Iran. Now, India, it first approached Iran so that it can lend these Asiatic cheetahs to it, but however, the population of Asiatic cheetah in Iran was so low that Iran refused to do so. So, therefore, India decided to bring back African cheetah, which has an IUCN status of vulnerable, back into India so as to restore the population of cheetahs in India. Now, you have to understand a very different behavior that the cheetahs exhibit, unlike other kind of big cats like lions and tigers, that these cheetahs, they don't roar. Whereas these other big cats, lion, tigers, leopards, they are known for their loud roar. Understood? This is a very significant behavioral pattern that differentiates cheetah from other big cats. Now, let us move to another article. This article actually talks about that the center has actually established a new national cooperative university. Now, this national cooperative university is called as Tribhuvan Sahakari University. Sahakari in Hindi means cooperative. Now, this was established on the campus of Indian Institute for Rural Management located in Anand, Gujarat. Now, you understand Anand is the birthplace of Amul. Amul became a revolutionary cooperative as it increased manifold India's milk production. And now, one of the biggest dairy cooperatives in India is known as Amul, which is not just a national but also now become an international brand. So, this is the success story of cooperative movement in India, and at this place only the new university has come up, and it will be declared an institution of national importance. Now, while this cooperative university is actually the first kind of a university in India, but such universities already exist in different countries like Kenya, Colombia, Germany, Spain, etc. So, this is the first of its kind in India, but not in the world. Please remember that. Now, as I told you, this will be established in the campuses of IRMA. So, IRMA must be an important institute, right? It is actually. Now, at present, IRMA offers specialized courses in rural management, and it also provides development training in the sector of cooperative industry. Now, this IRMA was actually formed or founded by the Dr. Verghese Kurian, who was actually the father of White Revolution in India, who started the Amul movement. Now, this IRMA was established with the help of National Dairy Development Board, Swiss Agency for Development Cooperation, as well as active support of Government of India and Government of Gujarat. So, this campus is actually spread across 60 acres of land, and this will also now house the National University of Cooperatives, or the Rashtriya Tribhuvan University. Now, this university, which has been set up now, it is aimed to imparting technical and management education and training in the cooperative sector. Now, it also aims to promote cooperative research and development, and also wants to attain standards of global excellence in the cooperative sector. Now, once this Tribhuvan Sahakari University bill will be legislated, and after it becomes the act, the IRMA society, which was formed as per the Societies Registration Act, will be dissolved, and then the IRMA will become one of the schools of this new Tribhuvan Sahakari University. However, while doing so, it will be declared as a center of excellence for rural management while preserving its autonomy under the current institutional framework of the university. So, the IRMA will not be ceased to exist, rather it will become the part of Tribhuvan Sahakari University. Understood? Now, how this university is different from other universities, you have to understand that this Tribhuvan Sahakari University will establish sector-specific schools for fishery, sugar, banking, rural cooperatives, etc. And at least 4 to 5 colleges will be set up in other states where the cooperative movement is quite developed, whereas in the lesser developed cooperative states, 1 or 2 colleges are being envisaged to set up under this new university, and this university will be housed in Gujarat, which is actually the birthplace of White Revolution in India. Now, why is cooperative actually a focus of the government? You have to understand cooperative is a very important sector as far as Indian economy is concerned. Case in point, it constitutes 19% of agricultural credit which is availed or which is extended to farmers through various kind of cooperative banks like PACS, District Cooperative Bank, Urban Cooperative Banks, etc. And it is also responsible for 35% of fertilizer production. Primarily companies like IFCO or CRIBCO, they are the major fertilizer supplies to the farmers of India. Further, in terms of milk production, they account for 10% of production of milk, and the most popular of them all is, the Amul, which is the cooperative society and now also an international brand. So, these are the key facts which tells you the importance of cooperative sector for Indian economy, not just agricultural credit, fertilizer distribution and production and procurement of milk, but also other agricultural commodities, sugar, fertilizer, wheat, paddy. These are procured by the cooperative agencies and unions. Now, why this cooperative university has been formed? Now, the government had actually understood that the present level of education and training infrastructure for the cooperative sector is inadequate, and to meet the demand for supply of quality manpower and the capacity development of the sector, the government is actually building this kind of an university. And also, the existing universities and educational institutions, they lack standardization and proper monitoring mechanisms so as to differentiate or to alleviate the sector of the problems associated with its education. A new university has been formed by the government. Understood? Now let us move to the last article of the day. This article actually appeared in the explain section of yesterday's newspaper. Now this actually highlights that the pulses, which is a key crop for India and it is in high demand across the nation, whether or not India has become Atmanirbhar or self-reliant in cultivation of these pulses or not. Now, the context of this article actually is because the finance minister in her budget speech this year, she introduced a 6-year mission for Atmanirbharta, self-reliance in pulses. And the special focus of this mission is on 3 kind of pulses, that is tur or arhar dal known as pigeon pea, urad which is known as black gram, and masoor dal which is known as red lentil. Now the 2025 and 26 union budget, it has allocated about 1000 crore rupees towards this scheme, and the intention is to use this money for providing MSP based procurement, construction of post harvest solution with respect of these 3 pulses. Now this scheme has been brought at the time where government is trying to become self reliant, while on the other hand, India or its imports of pulses this year is on a new record high. So there is a difference in how government wants to approach the scheme and the government's policy measures, which we'll look into our today's discussion. Now, first let us understand what are the different sources of import where the pulses from India are imported. Now, these pulses are imported from many nations. For example, tur and arhar, which are extensively used in northern part and even in southern part of the country to make dishes like sambar and rasam. These are actually mostly imported from African nations, particularly on the east side of Africa, Mozambique, Tanzania, and also Myanmar. Sudan and Malawi are important suppliers of tur dal. Whereas the matar is concerned, which includes both white pea as well as green pea. These are imported from Canada, Russia and Turkey. Whereas masoor dal, which is used extensively in preparation of khichdi, it is used or it is imported from Australia and Canada. Whereas chana, which is also known as gram, these are imported from Australia, Tanzania. Whereas urad dal, which I have already told you used in dosa, idli, etc., these are imported from countries like Myanmar. So these are the various sources of imports. Now, why am I giving you this kind of data? Such questions are often asked in the prelims examination. Understood? Now let us understand the trends on how the imports of these pulses have changed in India. Now there was this question on imports of various different oil seeds that have appeared in prelim. So that is why it is important for us to understand the trends of various kind of important crops. For that, let us consider the imports of pulses. Now you understand imports of pulses in terms of value was highest in the year 2016 and 27, where India imported about $4.24 billion worth of pulses. Now, eventually from its high in 2016 and 17, it reduced to a very manageable figure. However, after 2022 and 23, you see there will be a rise in import, and this particular financial year, which is ongoing currently, the figures in this graph has been provided for April and November. Between this 7 months period, India has already imported $3.28 billion worth of pulses. Now, if it goes like this for the rest of the financial year, which will end by May the 31st, you can understand the imports of pulses this year will touch the figure of about 5.9 billion, which will be more than the previous all-time high of $4.24 billion. Now, the pulses of import between the months of April to November, you can understand this was 56.6% higher than the similar period last year. And therefore, this shows that the import of pulses in recent time have increased and the potential of it to surpass the all-time high of the year 2016 and 17. Understood? So this is the trend related to pulses, that it became an all-time high in 2016 and 17. It reduced, eventually picking up later in this decade. Now, let us try to understand India. It actually imported a lot of pulses between 2013 and 14 to 2016 and 17, and it rose both in terms of value and in terms of quantity. In terms of quantity, it reached to a quantity of 66.04 lakh ton, also 6.6 million tons. Understood? So, the terms million tons, you can get it by dividing this lakh ton by 10. Understood? So, the quotes can be used alternatively. I will be using lakh ton in today's discussion. Now, subsequently, the import of all major pulses, it declined substantially after 2017 and 18, as we saw in the graph. However, subsequently, they fell to about 25.28 lakh tons here, 24.9 lakh tons in the year 2022 and 23. So, it was about 1/3 of that item or times of weight that it was imported back then. So, actually, in terms of our imports, it fell down by about 3 times less. So, you understand how much less we were importing the pulses. But from the discussion, we can say in the last 5 years, from 2018-19, which was marked by the country achieving relatively Atmanirbhar Bharata and significant drop in imports. However, there is a reverse in trend that after 2024 and 23, we have seen the reversal in imports. Now, the imports which fell down after 2017-18, it again picked up, as we have seen in the graph. Now, the current fiscal has already seen imports touch 40 lakh tons, and in terms of value, it has surpassed the previous all-time high. Understood? So, that is why it is a big cause of concern. Now, what is the production of domestic pulses in India? Now, production of domestic pulses in India has actually increased in recent times due to many efforts by the government. It was 192.55 lakh tons in 2014 and 2013 and 14, and it reached to 273.02 and 260 lakh tons in the year 2024. So, there is a substantial increase in domestic production of pulses. But despite that, as the demand is increasing, we had to import large quantities of pulses into India. Now, this increase in production was mainly due to two crops, that was chana and moong dal. And this chana and moong dal and its production increased due to various measures such as development of short duration varieties, technological interventions, and the efforts of the government to increasingly procure these kind of pulses through its MSP program. First of all, let us consider how the short yielding varieties have increased the propensity of farmers growing these crops. For example, traditional chana varieties, they had a cultivation period of 140 to 150 days, and they were grown from the seeds of grain which required 1 to 2 irrigations. Now, the government introduced newer varieties which were of short duration crops, and now the crops are cultivated into 100 to 120 days, thereby saving about 20 to 50 days on a general for farmers. Also, in terms of irrigation, now these crops, they just require a single iteration of irrigation and not 2 iterations. So, this reduces the time taken for pulses cultivation, primarily chana. It also reduces the need for water. So, therefore, farmers started to grow this kind of chana much more. Also, the breeding breakthrough was much more significant for moong, where today the varieties are so short that the farmers can now grow at least 4 crops every year. As the moong crops, they take about 50 to 60 days for summer and rabi crops, whereas for kharif and spring crops, they take about significantly larger, about 65 to 75 days. So, the duration of this crop is so short that actually the farmers can grow 4 times this crop in a particular year. And that is why farmers are growing more moong crops, because the governments are procuring them. Also, the moong, which has been developed by Indian scientists, it is actually photothermoinsensitive, which means it is rather immune to sunlight, etc. So, it can be grown anywhere and at any climate particularly. Further, apart from breeding, the government is also looking to procure more these crops under the MSP program. Therefore, it encourages the farmers to grow, or it encourages the cultivation of these kind of crops. So, these are the reasons why India has actually seen an increase in production of chana and moong, because of technological advancement, because of introduction of short duration varieties, and also that the government has made an effort to procure these grains from farmers through its MSP program. Now, there are significant challenges that still exist even today. For example, with respect to tur or arhar dal, which are in high demand in India, we understood this actually takes a long duration to function. That is, it takes about 250 to 270 days for the tur crop or harar crop to be cultivated, which is a long period of time, and the yield for these crops is around 20 quintals per hectare. Now the breeders, they have brought a shorter duration of this crop, which has reduced the cultivation period from 250 to 270 to about 150 to 180 days. However, by shortening the cultivation, it has also led to reduction in yield. That it was earlier 20 quintals, now it will be reduced to just 15 to 16 quintals per acre. So because of this reduction in yield, the farmers, they are not very keen on growing this kind of a tur crop. Also, Atmanirbharta in tur and arhar would perhaps require a shorter duration crop, which would have a higher yield, that it can be cultivated in 140 to 150 days with a yield of about 18 to 20 quintals, and this is what farmers want actually, right? Now there is another challenge, that there is a policy ambiguity for the government. On one hand, the government wants the farmers to expand the cultivation of these kind of pulses, but on the other hand, the government has actually reduced the import duty on these pulses to zero. Therefore, it is rather much more beneficial for the traders to import these pulses at a cheaper price rather than procuring it from the farmers who are growing this currently. So this kind of a challenges, that is existence of a larger duration variety which gives higher yield, whereas introduction of shorter varieties for pulses like tur has resulted into fall in your field. Also, there is a policy ambiguity for the government, that although it wants farmers to cultivate more such kind of crops, however, on the other hand, it has reduced the import duty to zero, which has led to increase in import. So this is the kind of challenge that India's pulse production area faces. Now let us try to solve the question. Now, naturally, you will be dividing your answer into three parts: introduction, body, and conclusion. Now you will introduce your answer with the fact that pulses in India are very desirable, as it will promote diversification of crops away from resource intensive crops like rice and wheat, and also it will fulfill the domestic demand for protein rich food. So this is how you will start your answer. And the body, it will consist of two parts, that is success, as the question highlights success here, and also you will highlight challenges. What you will write in success? You will write that introduction of shorter varieties, short cultivation varieties has actually led to increase in production, so that technological advancement, like this I told you, photothermoinsensitivity, that makes moong actually an ideal crop to be grown anywhere. Photothermoinsensitivity, and also the government is procuring more and more such crops on MSP program. Now in challenges, you will write two challenges, that is for tur and arhar dal, the yield of shorter varieties are less and therefore farmers are not keen to grow this, and also the policy ambiguity, that is import duties are actually zero in this area. So that is why the traders, they look to import more of these crops rather than procuring it from domestic farmers. So these are the challenges and success. Now you will conclude your today's answer by introducing the fact that recognizing these kind of challenges, the government in her union budget 2025 and 26 introduced a mission of Atmanirbharta for pulses, which focuses on three pulses that are in high demand: arhar dal or tur dal, urad, as well as the other crop, that is masoor. So this is how you will conclude your answer, that you will first set up the answer by highlighting why it is such a high demand in India. You will highlight the success and challenges, and you will conclude your answer by highlighting the latest measure, that recognizing the shortcomings in production of pulses, the government has introduced a new mission on pulses, which will promote cultivation of three pulses by procuring it under MSP and also constructing a post-harvest infrastructure, right? So please try to attempt this answer. If you have any problem, if you want to get your answers evaluated, this is your Telegram channel, ATS Live, where you can submit your answers. I will be more than happy to evaluate these answers. And this is the practice question with which we'll end our today's session, and we'll also begin our today's session with this practice question where I will be solving you. So please do not forget to comment it in the comment section after this video's end, that whether you liked this video or not, and if you still haven't, please like this video as it encourages us to do the such sessions on a daily basis. So this will be from our side for today. Please keep reading, keep analyzing, and more importantly, keep writing the answers. I will see you again tomorrow at 10 a.m. sharp. Until then, please have a good day.